Hello everyone, my name is Terri and I usually make Philippine travel updates, but for this video, we're going to talk about entry requirements of 15 countries. 15 countries of which where most of my viewers are from. So we already know about the rules on entry to the Philippines. How about going back to your countries? What are the requirements? So mostly this is COVID-19 travel related requirements. But the great thing is that the world has moved on and majority of countries in the world no longer requires COVID-19 travel requirements, although there are still some countries that have them. So let's talk about the entry requirements for 15 countries. Let's start with my biggest audience, US. United States of America surprisingly has still one COVID-19 travel restriction. Now, COVID testing is no longer required. Well, good. But COVID-19 vaccination is still required. According to CDC, air travel, all non-US citizens, non-US immigrants traveling to the US by air are required to show proof of being fully vaccinated against COVID-19. Only limited exceptions apply. Ayan. If you're not a US citizen, if you're not a US permanent resident, you need to be fully vaccinated, especially if you are 18 years old and above. There are exemptions, but they are very limited. It is shown on your screen. Forward to the neighboring country, Canada. Canada has lifted all COVID-19 travel restrictions. Testing and quarantine or vaccination or arrival can is not required in Canada. It's just like the usual. Just bring your passport and visa if you are required. Next up is Saudi Arabia, ang mga kababayan nating OFWs. All COVID-19 travel restrictions in Saudi Arabia are lifted. Testing, vaccination, it's no longer required. Vaccinated or not, you can enter Saudi. But according to Saudi Arabian authorities, passengers with a visit visa, including passengers traveling to perform Umrah, are required to have insurance covering the risk of COVID-19. Ayan, if you are a tourist going to Saudi, you need insurance that covers COVID. Moving forward, the UK. UK has moved on a long time ago. All travel restrictions there are lifted, testing and vaccination and all. And there is no online form to fill out. Moving forward, United Arab Emirates for kababayan OFWs. Good news for UAE, all COVID-19 travel restrictions are lifted. This was actually just announced last November 9. If you're unvaccinated, you no longer need to show a negative test result. For Australia, all restrictions have been lifted. No need to sign a form or online or anything. Next country is Hong Kong. Hong Kong. In Hong Kong, testing and vaccinations are still required. Now, in Hong Kong, if you are 12 years old and above, you must be fully vaccinated. All inbound persons are required to complete the online health declaration form, which is www.chp.gov.hk/hdf. Let me show you the look of that website. Okay. This is the Health and Quarantine Information Declaration, Hong Kong. Yan, it's just like e-arrival card. It's a health declaration form. Okay, if you are transiting in Hong Kong, guys, and you're not leaving the airport, you don't have to worry about this. Okay? If you're only transiting, walang requirements. There's no requirements. Apart from registering to the health declaration form, travelers who are entering Hong Kong need to also show a rapid antigen test result with the negative result taken within 24 hours before departure. And apart from that, upon arrival in Hong Kong, you will be tested again. This is PCR-based nucleic acid test on the spot. But the good thing is that you don't need to wait for the test result. You can proceed with immigration and customs and wait for the result while you are in your destination. So Hong Kong is still very, very strict. I wonder if they're getting any tourists with these rules. Our next country is Japan. In Japan, it's just like the Philippines. Testing or vaccination, your choice. So unvaccinated travelers can enter Japan. but they will need to show a negative PCR test certificate or result taken within 72 hours before departure for Japan. While they have also a different definition for fully vaccinated. In Japan, to be considered fully vaccinated, you must have 3 doses. 3 doses to be considered fully vaccinated in Japan. Another thing is that you also have to register to Visit Japan web. So it used to be MySauce, but since this November, they changed it to Visit Japan web. This Japan web, it's already, combined quarantine, immigration, and customs declaration. So with just one registration, you'll be able to register through, quarantine, immigration, and customs. So this is required for all entering Japan. Visit Japan web. It's not an app. You just go through a site. Well, let me show you the site. It's just like e-arrival card. You will also be issued a QR code. So if you have registered to Visit Japan web, procedure at the airport can be smoothly done by just showing QR code on screen. Mabilis yung process mo kung nag-register ka sa Visit Japan web. Let me show you. So this is what the site looks like. Ayan, you just have to register in which airport you're entering. Okay, you click whether that's Kansai, Haneda, or Narita. Our next country is Germany. Testing and vaccinations not required in Germany. No, they've moved on a long time ago. Our next country is Italy. Buongiorno. Testing and vaccination not required in Italy. Next country is, and recently, Qatar has lifted the requirement to register to ETHERAS. So starting November 1, if you're entering Qatar, you are no longer required to register to ETHERAS. No, hindi na siya requirement for public spaces as well. So, mas madali ang buhay. Next country is Kuwait. Still for our kababayang OFWs. Lifted na lahat sa Kuwait. Testing and vaccination are no longer required. Although you still have to wear masks for flights going to Kuwait. Next up is Singapore. In Singapore, testing or vaccinations, it's your choice. So Singapore allows vaccinated or not fully vaccinated travelers. But for fully vaccinated or unvaccinated, all passengers must register to SG Arrival Card e-service. It's an electronic health declaration form that you must register 3 days prior to your arrival in Singapore. You can do it on the web or via mobile application. For the unvaccinated aged 13 and above, you must take a test or show proof of recovery from COVID. So if you're taking the test, you must show within 2 days before departure, take any of the following tests. It can either be an RT-PCR test or an antigen rapid test. But do note that self-administered and remotely supervised is not allowed for tourists. That's just for long-term visa holders and residents. If you're a tourist, either RT-PCR or an antigen rapid test, lab-based. Well, if you recently recovered from COVID, you can show a positive PCR or antigen test result that must have been carried not more than 14 days and not less than 90 days before the flight. Aside from COVID tests or proof of recovery, unvaccinated travelers aged 13 and above must have insurance. An insurance that covers COVID-19 medical treatment and hospitalization with a minimum coverage of 30,000 Singaporean dollars. So Singapore has a list for Singapore-based insurers. I'll put the link for the website in the description box. Our next country is Taiwan. Taiwan has no pre-arrival testing, pre-departure testing, quarantine, or form requirements for passengers. However, there is test upon arrival. What kind of test, Jennifer? Plenty. On arrival in Taiwan, you will receive 4 rapid antigen test kits if you're age 2 years old and above. Now, you should use this rapid antigen test kit on the day you arrive, on day 1 or day 3, and before going out for the first time during your self-initiated epidemic prevention period in Taiwan. You can only go out if you do not have any symptoms and you have a negative result from a rapid test taken within 2 days. So Taiwan is still pretty strict. Apart from that, wearing of mask in public, indoor, public transport, in certain outdoor areas are still required. Next country is New Zealand. Well, New Zealand has already lifted all testing and vaccinations. No requirements for New Zealand. So that is all about the entry requirements for our top 15 countries. If you have anything to add, if you have your own experience traveling in those countries, comment down below. It will help a fellow traveler. I will put the link for countries that are still strict, the source of information, so if ever there are changes, you can jump into the government website to check. I hope this was helpful, and if it was, please share this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so. God bless you all and stay safe. Bye.